DartZone.com. Stay in the zone. TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics, and Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Dart Talk carries the Internet Broadcast Rating TVD, a broadcast that is specifically designed to be viewed or heard by the darting community, and therefore may be incomprehensible to other lesser mammals. Darter discretion advised.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
That was kind of a strange silent opening for us.
Not exactly sure how that worked, but we'll find out.
Yeah, Steve Pronunciamo with Mystery Mark. Another episode of Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts.
Mm-hmm.
And how was your weekend, sir?
Not too bad. I've got a little time crunch. My house is closing in 2 weeks, so I'm planning on moving, getting all things packed up. Keeps me busy.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I got the word indirectly. I was going to be helping you move, and I'm like, I had a little Seinfeld moment with like the Keith Hernandez thing and stuff. I think I know you well enough.
Yeah, exactly. So
I may be like Kevin Costner in For Love of the Game, where I'm like, I'm just carrying pillows, man. I'm no books.
You might be, but
don't wrench my back.
As long as you just drive the car to and fro, I'll unload everything. That's fine.
Right. Anyway, we got a lot to get to. We have results from Syracuse, Sacramento, Decatur, Alabama, and TRICODA.
Mm-hmm.
Not even sure where that was held. Somewhere in the TRICODA area. We'll give you our picks.
We'll go
talk.
With that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little Premier League. I've got some issues that we may or may not get to. A couple of serious ones actually, where I'm gonna like totally rip on somebody who will remain nameless for now.
There's a shock.
No, that's true, but we got some interesting news. But you were telling me right before the show about this thing you saw.
Yeah, on basketball. First of all, I'd like to give a quick shout-out to my friend Tom, who doesn't get to listen very often, but he said he was going to be listening tonight. So,
hey, Tom.
Hopefully he is, and
he better be.
There's your shout-out.
No shout-outs unless you listen to the show. That's editorial policy.
But yes, anyway, I was watching the Indiana-Michigan State basketball game yesterday, and they had a little basketball tip that they cut to, and the tip was about the new way of teaching people how to shoot a basketball, and he equated it to throwing a dart and turning your foot instep in a little bit, which squares your whole body up, and basically on the snippet said, if you've ever thrown a dart and it squares your body up, and he actually like mimicked throwing a dart and then mimicked shooting a basketball after that.
Right, and it's kind of interesting because we have always, like, being dart players naturally, whenever set designers, apparently in Hollywood, they'll throw dartboards in the weirdest places that under no circumstances could you even possibly consider. Like in Big Bang Theory, in the back of their front door, they have a dartboard that's about navel high, right? And I've never seen these guys throw darts, but it just seems like it's starting to creep into the public consciousness more and more, which is good. So we're watching, what were we watching? Jill and I. She loves Criminal Minds. So she's watching Criminal Minds, and literally, all of a sudden, I grab the remote, I'm like, pause it, right? So they have this, like, one of the blonde girl in Criminal Minds is wearing like these hip huggers, showing her navel and stuff. And they're at a bar at a Super Bowl party, and she's playing darts with two dudes. And I'm like, pause it. And we look. So she's playing. She's on a 12 darter, and she takes out 170, and she's like, woo, 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 woo. And I look at the score, and the other guy's like on 136, and I'm like, wait a minute. They're both on 12 darters. She's busting out a 170 saying, oh, I used to play when I was a kid. And I'm like, Well, that's better than seeing the dartboard
Exactly.
on some angled roof where you're throwing at it, from your
Right.
bed in a loft or something. I just thought that was kind of funny. But it was kind of like,
Well, at least they made it more realistic.
yeah, it was kind of like the Daredevil movie with Bullseye, where he's just
Yes.
not even looking at the
Yeah.
board, and he throws
Right.
3 double bulls, right? Which invariably, if I'm ever in a bar, that's what people think I can do. As soon as they find out, I'm like,
A good dart
a
player.
good dart player.
Yeah.
Well, can you do that? Well, no.
Yeah. Or
I'll
like the
try,
mechanical
but-
arm from Young Frankenstein.
Just kills me. Just kills me. I don't know. I thought though that was interesting, and then they're replaying the PDC World Cup of Darts from last year, so I got to see Mawson and Darren DVR
Okay.
that one. So if you guys want to crank up the DVRs, they're showing it on NBC Universal at it's either at midnight or 1 in the morning. And they're rerunning last year, and I'm assuming as soon as they're done with last year,
Every
they're going
night?
to start this year. Yeah, every
okay.
night, like Monday through Friday.
Right.
So, which is good because I lost last year's DVR, so I kind of like to do that.
No, actually, I do remember them doing that last year.
Right.
So,
And speaking of Gary Mawson,
yes.
I did talk to him in Alabama over the weekend. Alabama had a really killer field. I'm sure Syracuse did too. I think if you look at if you go by like ADO top 10, the field in Alabama was probably tougher. If you go by the NAPTA, where they include Canadians, maybe Syracuse was tougher. I mean, I don't know. They're both pretty tough fields. But I did talk to Gary Mawson for a while, and he's like, hey, let me, give you something for the show. And he's like, I had to change my flights. So he put his flights that he used when he threw the 9-darter against West Newton in a box and autographed the box and said we could do whatever we want with it.
Nice.
So I'm like, cool. Right? We got listeners, that, some of them are Mawson fans. Everybody's a fan, really, that listens to the show. I mean, we got kind of a hardcore tribe of darters and stuff like that. So we got to figure out what we can do with his darts.
That's a nice
not with his
gesture.
darts, but with his flights. I thought that was a real classy thing to do. I was very appreciative of it. And, of course, we knocked him out of the doubles after that. But he was still very gracious.
Of course
so
he didn't take
him.
him back. So
no, he did not
wasn't
take
that
him back.
upset.
So all the more credit to the Mauler, to Gary Mawson on that one. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's want to do some results. We got a lot of results, so we need to kind of chip away at them.
right.
So what do you want to do?
You want to do TRICODA first, which, by the way,
Who's got TRICODA?
is Southern Maryland.
Southern Maryland. Thank
Case-
you. Smartest chat room in the business. Who's got TRICODA?
You do
I do.
on the screen.
Okay, well let's do the TRICODA results real quick, if I can find them here. Okay, so this was a couple of weeks ago in the 501 draw. Steve Melvin, Stowe Bunce, Charlie Moore, and Chris Deatley top 4. Kevin Thompson, James Bradshaw, runners up to Bill Corrigan and Mark Fair. Congrats to them. Good to see Mark up there. In the draw cricket, Sarah Young and Scott Groves, Michael Lagana and Doug Watkins, top 4. Bill Corrigan and Martin Warzynski, second place. Charlie Moore and Mark Fair. Winners there, 2 for 2 Mark. Mixed Trip 601, Jim Dillow. Barb Hanbury, Glenn Smith, Vicky Haight, Steve Melvin, Larry Cox, top 4. Maryland Pop, Joe Triples, Joe Huffman.
Joe Triples.
And, Scott Fraser Jr., second place. And the winners, Matt Thompson, April Thompson, and Kyle Owen. Congrats to them. Kyle, good showing there. Men's 501 doubles, Chris Linkus, Stowe Bunce, Dave Feldpush, Alan Matthews. Interesting. They got away from the counter long enough to play. Mark Fair, Danny Scheuer, second place. Matthew Thompson, Kyle Owen, the winners there. Way to go, Kyle. Women's doubles 501, April Thompson, Shannon Wallace, Doreen Berry, Candy Watkins, second place. Vicky Haight and Kendra Weichel, and the winners Dorothy Spencer and Julia O'Berty. Men's singles cricket, Stowe Bunce, Matthew Thompson, top 4. Kyle Owens, runner-up to Joe Huffman. Haven't seen Joe in a while. Good seeing he's still out there. Women's singles cricket, Doreen Berry, Dorothy Spencer, top 4. April Thompson, runner-up to Maryland Pop. Okay, 4-person team 701, Lori Brown, Jenny Bossum, Nick Castellano, Dominic Punt, Stowe Bunce, Chris Linkus, Scott Groves, Robert Vincent Jr., top 4. Kyle Owen, Matthew Thompson, Brian McGarrigle, and Scott Sampson, runners-up to Larry Cox, Chuck Dixon, Tom Haight and Tom Conrad Jr., winners of the four-man. Men's doubles cricket, Tom Conrad Jr., Chuck Dixon, T.J. Jackowski, and Jim Edmonston, top four. Matthew Thompson, Kyle Owen, second place. Jim Dillow and Glenn Smith won the men's doubles cricket. Women's doubles cricket, Dorothy Spencer, Julia O'Berty, Vicky Haight, and Kendra Weichel, top four. Lori Manuel, Lisa Forbes, second place. Marsha Locke and Marilyn Pop won that. Men's singles 501, Glenn Smith, Jim Dillow, top four. Michael Lagana, second place, to Matthew Thompson, big winner this weekend, I guess. Women's singles 501, Doreen Berry, Debbie DeMar, top four. Dorothy Spencer, second place. Marilyn Pop won that. And then the Maryland State Cricket Championship. Top four, Martin Warzinski, Michael Lagana, second place, Doug Watkins, and the winner, Matthew Thompson. Congrats to him. And the Women's Maryland State Cricket Championship, April Thompson, Vicky Haight, top four. Julia O'Berty, second place, and the winner, Dorothy Spencer. And that is the TRICODA results.
A lot of mention for the Thompsons.
Yeah, seemed to have a pretty good weekend in a very tough field, so congrats to him.
And April.
And
April Thompson was up there a few times.
Oh, Kyle Owen did good, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how you see the same names over and over, but, you know.
When you're playing well?
When you're playing well and you can keep it going, I mean, that's the trick, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where are we now? What are we doing? You did your shout-out. We did that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect the thoughts or opinions of the hosts, our sponsors, any official Dart sanctioning organization, and post hoc ergo propter hoc, any and all spelunkers, debunkers, raconteurs, roustabouts, technocrats, hepcats, cat ladies, Lady Gaga, the Four Seasons, the Three Stooges, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, hipsters, kibitzers, hellions, the fickle finger of fate, or Tom Waits.
Okay, so we disclaim any and all responsibility
As
for
always.
any and all things that we say.
Absolutely.
So we're
Do
golden.
you blame us?
No.
No.
I don't blame us at all. Okay, more results. Let's
More
do.
results.
You want to do Camilla?
The Camilla Classic.
Sacramento, California, 2 weekends ago. Hit it.
All right, we will start with the modified round robin 501 with Larry Colburn, Shannon Cullen, Clay Elledge and Nick Klaus for third and fourth. Eric Hutala, Larry Huff, second place with Frank Hernandez and Jeff Rutherford winning that one. You have the youth shoot ages 7 through 12, 501. Nathan Carroll, John Carroll, Lowen Clofe, and Paulo Clofe for third and fourth. Ethan Vito and Chris Miller, second. Tyler Burnett, Scotty Burnett win that one. Then you have the youth event, 13 through 18, 501. Cassidy Larkin, Janet Graff, Dylan Gaither, and Patrick Frisbee, third and fourth. Joey Hernandez, Jeff Moore, second place, with Luke Nevis and Sid Lawrence winning that one. You got your men's doubles 501 top four: Frank Hernandez, Chris Peak, AJ Gladwell, and Alex Tabor or Tabar. Not sure which that was. Second place goes to Joey Burt and Howard Myers, with Jason Barlow and Chris White winning that one.
Well, there's team fun right there, Barlow and White.
Team fun.
That'd be fun to follow those guys around.
There you go. We will anoint them Team Fun.
Team fun.
All right. Women's doubles.
Team fun, eh?
Team fun. Women's
Team
doubles
fun,
501. Maggie Martell, and Corrine Stockton, Marlise Keel, and Gloria Gutierrez for top four. Cindy Hayhurst and Janet Graff for second place, and Trish Gressick and Stacy Bromberg wins the women's doubles 501.
Well, okay. If we're naming the men, we have to name the women.
Yes, you have to.
All right, Trish and Stacy can only have one name.
Which would be?
Let's call them the Whisper Twins. Since they barely say a word.
Okay. There you go. You have been anointed.
The Whisper Twins.
The Dart Talk has anointed you the Whisper Twins.
All right. Official Dart Talk nicknames now. Right. What do we got? Team Fun and the Whisper Twins.
And we have been disclaimed. So
and we've been disclaimed, so we're invulnerable.
You can send all your disagreements or whatever, but
we'll give them we'll give them the consideration they deserve.
Right.
But you can actually, as long as we're yakking, you can always send comments to darttalk@gmail.com. You can always find us on Twitter @darttalk. We're on Facebook. We got our own little Facebook page, and you can also get the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher.com, and TuneIn.com.
We want to hear them. And plus, if you have a better nickname for yourselves than we gave you.
I like Whisper Twins.
I'd like it too.
Right? So, but I don't know. That's going to be hard to beat. You're going to have to convince me your nickname for them is better.
All right. I agree with that.
Okay.
All right. Mixed triple 601. Yeah. You have top four: Sharon Weller, David Flowers, Dieter Schutz.
Dieter!
Nick DePanos, Sammy Cruz, and Greta Flores.
Yeah, Nico DePanos. Hi, Nico.
And that was for top four. Scotty Barnett, Alan Nutter, and Linda Hines for second place, with Trish Gressick, Chris White, and Jason Barlow. Two parts of Team Fun.
Two.
Team
so you Fun and one of the Whisper Twins.
Team Whisper Fun, or what? I don't know how you would do that.
That would be a fun team to follow around, I think. That would have been interesting. Just saying. Men's
singles 501.
Top four.
Top four. I got Pat Howard.
Hi,
with,
Pat.
Patrick Kithy.
Hi, Pat.
Frank Hernandez, second place with Chris White. Chris White winning that one.
The great white shark, Chris White. Congrats to Chris.
Little shout out to Patrick Kithy.
Yeah, Patrick. Hope
back.
I run into him sometime. Good to see he's still around, playing well.
We got the women's singles 501. We got top four: Cindy Hayhurst and Christina Smith, with Trish Gressick second place, and Stacy Bromberg winning that.
Whisper Twins in the final. Shout out to Christina Smith. Hi, Christina.
Blind draw doubles, Chicago. What's that mean?
Chicago format.
Oh, there you go.
You've seen pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Gary Bixler, Dave Johnson, Larry Colburn, Patrick Frisbee for top four. David Flowers, Brian Ingram, second place, with Daniel Bailey and Dick Westcott winning that. Men's singles cricket, top four: Ryan Barnett and Terry Hayhurst, with Nico DePeos second, and Chris White. Seems to be having a good weekend.
Clean sweep for Chris White. All right.
Women's singles cricket, Gretel Flores and Janet Graff, top four: Brenda Rausch second, Stacy Bromberg first.
Sweep for Stacy.
Men's doubles cricket, top four: Scotty Burnett, Alan Nutter, David Flowers, Dieter Schutz, Nico DePeos, Sammy Cruz for second, Chris White, and Jason Barlow.
Team Fun.
Team fun, eh? There you go. They seem to be having a lot of fun this weekend. And then finally, you got women's doubles cricket, top four: Sharon Weller, Renee Ripoll, and Cindy Hayhurst, Janet Graff. Second place, Brenda Roush, Linda Hines, and Trish Gressick and Stacy Bromberg with the women's doubles cricket team.
The Whisper Twins.
Or the Whisper Twins.
Yeah, don't mix them up. Now let's.
Did I miss one?
No, I think you got it. I think that was everything.
Yeah, that's it.
We did the. Okay, awesome. While we're on results, the NWDS hometown events that we talked about went on last weekend.
Yes.
And who do we got for winners?
You got San Francisco Lor Thau.
See, it should be Thor
It should be.
Lau.
I know it should.
I
be.
know.
Anyway,
Congrats to Lor.
Lor Thau wins San Francisco. Staten Island, you have Kristen Miller and Billy Connor. Austin, Texas, Leonard Gates.
Soldier.
There you go. Springfield, Missouri, Jesse Russell.
Congrats to Jesse. There are upcoming events this weekend. Saturday in Margate, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, San Angelo, Texas, at The Rock, one of my favorite places.
Clifton, New Jersey.
Clifton, New Jersey. Also Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then Sunday there's two, one in Sterling, Virginia, and one in Cleveland, Ohio. Log on to newworlddartseries.com, hometown, to register, or New World Dart Series on Facebook for more info.
I might make an appearance at the one in Chicago. I
think you should go. I think you should. I'm not going to play, but I may kind of hang out.
I haven't played in a tournament in like 3 years.
I haven't been able to heckle anybody in a long time. So I may go to the Chicago one and kind of scope it out. And you should play. I told Joe that she should play because, to be honest with you, these great afternoons of darts, I think anybody that plays in one of them where, you're going to play a round robin followed by a knockout, you're going to get in lots of legs. It's got to be better than any league experience that you have from a just, playing competitive standpoint.
Right.
I mean, you can have fun in league, like hanging out with your friends and ripping on each other.
Purely throwing darts competitively for
it's awesome.
Hours. So
absolutely awesome.
It's about a half hour for me, so I'm actually might dust them off a little bit and go make a fool out of myself, but what the hell?
Well, you should. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I was in Alabama over the weekend, and it was kind of funny because there was one guy from Florida, Danny Baggish, who literally has not seen a tournament in quite a while. Especially, I haven't seen him at a steel tournament in years. Played great, and I think I don't want to speak for him, but he seemed not only pleased but kind of surprised that he was getting results because he'd been, kind of out of it so long as far as the steel tip thing goes. And I was kind of mocking him. Early on Friday, I kind of went in front of him, kind of showed. I'm like, Danny, here's where the triples ring is,
nice.
La-di-da-di-da. And what does he do? First round in the 5-0, he knocks out Larry Butler.
And I'm
like,
the board yeah.
No, but he smacked me bad in the cricket. We'll talk about Alabama, I guess. But there were a couple of other guys that, played really well, that have not been getting out to tournaments and stuff. And, Alabama, they're going to have to rename that tournament. Instead of Shoot for the Moon, they should call it the Alabama Marathon, because every year I go down there, that Saturday is just, my legs were killing me. I played 12 straight hours. You start out with mixed triples. And then we got far enough where we went right into the singles, got far enough where we went right into the men's doubles, and then got far enough where we went right into the mixed doubles. And pretty soon, I'm like, my God, people are coming at you in waves, and then it just works out that way. Where
it could see for
from
somebody
one
like
to the
you,
next.
yes. For somebody like me, it'd be the Alabama one and done.
Right, and the Alabama one and done. And I had a chance to talk to a lot of people because when you smoke at tournaments now, you're kind of thrown out of the building with all the other lepers, right? So I was with the leper sticks.
You're with the leper colony,
and
is that it's not called the smoke pit anymore? Now it's just the leper colony. You're outside.
Yeah, it just feels like it, and it was so cold in Alabama. It was like very unseasonably cold.
Yeah. Did you see they had snow in Arizona today?
No, I heard because
the golf tournament got suspended because they had 3 inches of snow in the middle of the desert.
I'm telling you, it's for real. I think it was Scotty Burnett posted something, and they had like a snow, hail, sleet storm in California.
Yeah.
It's just unheard of.
It's crazy.
I mean, it was snowing sideways in Alabama for a while. And it was so funny. Like Tyler Mears was there from Florida, and she's like, "Is it really snowing?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "I should go out there. I've never seen snow."
Right,
and I'm
I bet.
Okay, it's not the really Norman Rockwell soft,
No.
floaty snow. I mean,
it's the one that pelts your face and doesn't feel good.
Snow flurries going horizontal
Yeah.
is not shouldn't be your first introduction to snow.
Right.
It was kind of funny, but these everybody I talked to that has played in some of these long format things were like, "Oh yeah, it's so much better." And I'm trying to explain it to some of the people that aren't familiar with it, and I'm like, "Look, I mean, you're going to get in, way more play."
Mm-hmm.
And you'll still have time to, hit the jacuzzi or, socialize or something. Because so many people look at these tournaments as people go to tournaments for different reasons. If you're going to tournaments to have fun, then have fun by all means. But the people that want to have fun and play, it's the perfect combination.
Sure.
Because when you're playing, you play. And when you're done playing, you socialize. So you get to do both and pay attention to both, as opposed to you're in the middle of a conversation, and then boom, you have to go play,
Right?
And interrupt whatever it was, and then it's just way better all the way around to do it that way. Let's take our second break, and we'll be back. This will be a short one. We'll run one little promo, and then we'll be back. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve.
Hey everybody, Colin Cosell here for the New World Darts Series. Now, if you were with us in Dayton, then you already know what an amazing experience we had. Incredible matches, stiff competition, and some of the best darts in North America. However, if you weren't there, then you have every right to be jealous. But don't worry, the New World Darts Series is coming back, April 5th through 7th at the Tuscany Suites and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. This means you've got some time to sharpen your skills and prepare to face off against some of the best shots in North America. And with over $31,000 to be won, not to mention a brand new car, not to mention the fact that it's frickin' Vegas, don't waste any time. Space is limited, so register and make your travel plans right now. I'll be back with updates as the event draws near, but until then, I look forward to seeing you at the New World Darts Series' second major event at the Tuscany Suites and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, April 5th through 7th. Get there.
Alrighty, we are back for the second half, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. I don't even remember where we were.
Well, we talked
today
about getting the results from Alabama, but before we get to the results, you were in Alabama, correct?
I was.
So I was curious. We talked last week about you had some preparation that you did for darts for getting ready for the tournament. So I was just curious, A, how did you play? And, did the preparation that you used aid or, in effect, hinder?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we got there late, so I couldn't play the Friday singles. So I think we'll skip the results.
Why'd you get there late?
Well, it was a couple of things. We overslept for one, and then we hit lots of traffic coming down, going through Nashville, and we just ended up late. Jill just managed to get into the 301, and I couldn't. So I'm thinking if I didn't play, the event doesn't count, so we probably should skip the 301
So we're
results.
only having results from Saturday on, is what you're saying?
Well, we can run the draw. We can do the results. No, I'm just kidding. No, so, I mean, I didn't really get – I didn't do my tournament preparation the way I usually do. But I was basically – I'd have to summarize my weekend as saying it was I was fighting my darts all weekend, and I was pretty inconsistent.
What does fighting your darts mean?
Fighting your darts means that you know, from round to round, and even sometimes from dart to dart, you're not fully confident that it's going to go where you want it to and it's going to fly the way you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of funny. I mean, some of the first round matches, I played in the doubles with Ralph McCool, who was, you know, MVP of the weekend. And we both kind of struggled, and, you know, if I missed, he would hit. If he hit, I would miss. And then, you know, we managed to advance a little bit, but I didn't play consistently well through an entire event. Like, I'd have one really good leg, and if it came at the right time, you know, we'd advance, and then the next leg it'd be like a different player. So it was constantly, you know, back and forth, and I have to say that, you know, I didn't play well all weekend.
Is it a lot mental?
I got great results for how well I played.
Is any of that mental, or is it just or was it more physical? Mentally you were there, but physically you just couldn't. Well, whether release it correctly or
because you're playing all day, and because you're kind of playing one match after the other, after the other, after the other, when things start going south, it's very difficult to adjust on the fly.
Sure.
Because, you know, you could go up on the board after a match and, you know, throw for 5 minutes, but then, you know, 10 minutes later when you're starting the second match, you know, and at one point I got in this horrible let's throw everything in the 5 groove, which doesn't work in 01 at all.
Not really.
But you know,
not unless your opponent's throwing everything in the 1.
But I mean, it would be weird. It would be like, you know, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I'd find 3 good darts that would manage to, you know, win me a leg.
Propel you, yeah.
Like, I'd throw, like, you know, very pedestrian, mediocre darts, and then I'd take out like a 121.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then, you know, the next leg I'd open up, you know, ton 40, ton 31. I mean, it was just very strange. And finally, you know, by Sunday I just gave up, and I'm like, just fling them in there and, you know, let's see if they hit.
Hopefully they stick.
Yeah. Well, my darts always stick in the board.
Right.
You know, so it was kind of an interesting experience. I really enjoyed watching a couple of people play. That it's hard when you're playing to watch other people. So as soon as you get knocked out, you know, then you have a chance. But, you know, if you know, you have to take care of business, get something to eat,
yeah,
you know, do this, do that, whatever. So, but I got a chance to watch a couple of people throw that I've never really sat and watched throw much. One was Ralph McCool, who, because he's my doubles partner, you'd think I got to watch him throw.
That's what I was going to ask.
Well, he's at the line, and I'm futzing with my darts, beating myself up for missing, what have you, and this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, Ralph is probably one of the best players in America that nobody's really heard of, partly because he doesn't travel that much. You know, but he's been playing longer than me, and, you know, he's a grown-up. You know, he's like, there's no drama. He shows up, he plays, you know, if he wins, he wins. If he loses, he loses. You know, he's not arrogant. You know, he's gracious, win or lose. So, you know, people could learn a lot by watching a guy like Ralph. And then I also took pains to watch Robbie Phillips. Robbie had a great weekend, played great. We lost to him and Ray Carver in the final. And, you know, Robbie just played stellar. And I haven't seen Robbie really throw all year, so it's kind of interesting. You know, every year I look at Robbie, and he's done.
You weren't watching him while he was beating you in the final, though. You got to watch him.
I got to watch him after.
Right. Okay.
After they beat us.
Just checking.
How did it work? They beat us in top. No, they beat us actually in one final. I don't know. I can't remember. But I did watch him for a while. Oh, no, we were both in top 4.
Mm-hmm.
I played Ralph, and he played Ray. It was kind of funny. We were playing each other.
Oh, nice.
Playing our doubles partners in top 4 of one of the singles. It was in the 01 singles. And, you know, I lost to Ralph quicker than he lost to Ray. So, you know, I had a chance to watch Robbie. But the thing about Robbie that's funny is, you know, every year I watch Robbie, he's doing something a little different than the year before. So here's a guy that, you know, is constantly trying to improve his game. And you know, some of it's noticeable. Like, he started doing this one thing with his wrist that you know, he does, you know, for alignment purposes and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to just kind of watch him and see, you know, if he had anything new this year. Because I haven't had a chance to really sit there and you know, watch him play. And he played really good. They won the cricket doubles in about 3 minutes.
Really?
Over me and Ralph. Yeah, that was ugly. And then, you know, he was sailing along, you know, beating the pants off everybody until, you know, Ralph took him apart. So, in the Sunday in the cricket. So, that was kind of fun. Who else? And then, the women. I should say something about the women. They had a very tough women's field. And it was nice. The women there, I wanted to, I'm going to kind of stumble over this. They have very gracious women at this tournament. Sandy Hudson's there, Shea Reynolds was there, Paula Murphy was there, Stacy Bromberg was there, Lisa Ayres, Sandy Haas. I mean, they had a brutal women's field.
Right.
And, in the 301 singles, Stacy Bromberg's out in the first round. And she's not complaining. She's not anything. She's like, oh, well, lost that one. Let's move on to the next one. It's kind of nice to see the level of professionalism from the top women. I was kind of impressed by that. And I had the chance to play with Sandy Hudson in the mixed doubles for the first time. And, wow, you talk about a consummate dart professional. Here's somebody that's, she's focused. She shows up on time, when the match is called and stuff. And just as gracious as can be. It was, I was really impressed. I was thinking about it on the drive home because it ended up taking like 13 hours. And I was like, man, these women, they don't get the credit they deserve. They don't get they don't get to play for as much money as the men, so they're constantly scrambling to make expenses. And it's too bad because I watched those women at the Lakeside World Championship, and I'd put my women. Yeah. I would put the U.S. women. If you took the top 8 U.S. women and put them in a match against the top 8 British women, I think the American women would wipe the floor with them.
Right.
Just wipe the floor with them. And if you put in like the top 16 American women and Canadian women and played them against the top UK, Scotland, Ireland women, our women would wipe the floor with them.
Mm-hmm.
Just wipe the floor with them. And I don't think it'd be close. I really don't. And it's too bad that like the only women's championship, none of these women get to play in because you can't really qualify. You got to play in all these tournaments that are basically, none of these women are going to move to England to play in one tournament. And it's too bad because, I think our women would smoke them. I really do. I was watching, Anastasia, and you could add her to the team. I wouldn't care. I'd still take our women. So anyway, let's do some results. You want to do Syracuse?
You want to do Syracuse?
Yeah, why don't you do Syracuse, and then I'll do Alabama.
All right, so we have the Syracuse Open results for the Pro Shoot 401. We only have first and second, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. We'll have full results next week from Syracuse. This is the best we could do. By the time I got around to asking, it was a little too late. Right. So
this is what I got on the copy.
I'm having major smartphone problems. By the way, if anybody has a recommendation between a Samsung S3 and an iPhone 5,
SG3 and the iPhone 5,
send your recommendation to darttalk@gmail.com because I need to pick one of them and I can't figure out which one's better.
All right.
So
flip a coin.
Personal aside.
All right,
there.
Pro Shoot 401. Dan Olson second. Darren Young, the winner of that. Draw Cricket, the winner. John Kramer and Brandon Rogers. Men's doubles cricket. Second place, Bob Seneve, Tom Sawyer with Darren Young and Dan Olson. Did I say Don Olson the first time?
You might have. I don't know. It's Dan Olson. He knows he's
Don
Dan.
Olson. Don Olson's the old football announcer, right? Football player
that's
and announcer.
Merlin Olson.
Oh, that's Merlin Olson.
Don't call him Merlin.
All right.
Right. Okay.
All right. So I've now confused myself. All right.
Okay.
So that's Dan Olson anyway. Ladies doubles cricket. Deborah Lee Roberts.
Natalie Bolduc.
Natalie Bolduc with second place. Trish Gressick and Marlies Keel for the winners of that.
That's another team fun.
Men's singles cricket. Second place, Jim Widmeyer, Darren Young winning that. Ladies singles cricket, Kim Whaley Hiltz. Second place, Robin Curry winning that one. Men's doubles 501, Tom Sawyer, Trish Gressick.
Oh, that's in the mix.
Or the mixed doubles.
All right.
Now, then you got the men's doubles. Men's doubles 501. Tom Sawyer, Bob Seneve, second place with Dan Olson and Darren Young winning that one. Seem to be repeating these names a lot.
Yeah.
Ladies doubles 501. Jennifer McHugh and Veronica House, second place. And then with Callie West and Robin Curry winning that. Men's singles 501. Bob Seneve, second place. Dave Switzer first. And finally, ladies singles 501. Robin Curry second. And Kathy Solway first place.
Nice. Congrats to all those
Syracuse winners.
The Salt City, is it the Salt City Open? Apparently there's a lot of salt somewhere around Syracuse,
New York.
They go under, they got those big salt mines under the Great Lakes or something. That must,
all right,
as opposed to Salt Lake City, which is different.
And not even close.
Way further west.
Yes.
And way saltier. Okay. We do have let's do the results. This is from Shoot for the Moon in Decatur, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
The Dickey Newbie Youth Adult 12 and under. Kim Harbour, Trey Dollar, Ralph McCool, and Jesse McCool, top 4. Jason Watt and Ashton Watt, second place. And the winners, Larry Butler and James Butler. And from what I heard, James carried them the whole way. So congrats to James.
That makes sense.
The Dickey Newbie Youth Adult 501 13 to 19-year-old shoot. Top 4, Brian Ammerman and Jason Ammerman, Jimmy High and Jared High. That was top 4. Second place, Dennis Sayer and Mitch Hedrick. And the winners, Robbie Phillips and Meatball, Dylan Anderson. Dylan Anderson's only 19? Good Lord. Mitch Hedrick
He
is
could
actually
be 13 for all you know.
No, because I know him. I was talking to him. Mitch Hedrick, too. Those are pretty good players to be Utes. I don't know. That's kind of rough. Okay, ladies singles cricket. Let's go top 8. Missy Nurtot, Tyler Mears, Kim Keller, and Lisa Ayres, top 8. Top 4, Wanda Kuntz, Sandy Hudson. Second place, Paula Murphy. And the winner, Stacy Bromberg. Seems like she was everywhere.
Yeah.
Men's doubles cricket. Top 4, Earl Dunkelberger and Terry Stewart, Joe Cheney, and Chuck Pankow, top 4. Second place, me and Ralph McCool, and the winner, Ray Carver and Robbie Phillips. Ladies doubles cricket, top
8.
Top 8. Wanda Coots and Vera Emmons, Missy Nurtot and Jill Hutchinson, Sandra Bass, Michelle Cross, Denise Lane, Kat Cotter. Top 4, Shauna Bagish and Nancy Jo Sebring. Vicky Carroll and Lisa Ayres. Second place, Shay and Paula. And the winner is Sandy Hudson and Stacy Bromberg. Men's singles cricket, top 4, John Steinhofer, Danny Baggage. Second place, Gordon Dixon. And the winner and MVP, Ralph McCool. Is that everything? No, that's just for Sunday. Let's see. For Saturday, bear with me.
You did Saturday, Sunday before Saturday?
What can I tell you? I'm a mess today. Mixed triples 501. Robbie Phillips, David Lorena, and Shay Reynolds. Ralph McCool, Sandy Hudson, and me. Top 4. Second place, Gary Mawson, Norman Madu, and Michelle Goss. And the winners, Gordon Dixon, DJ Sayer, and Tyler Mears. I got to say, Tyler Mears, they threw an 18
She had to carry them, right?
Yeah.
She had to.
They threw an 18-dart 701 leg against us in top 4, and Tyler took out like a 101. And I was just like, wow. I was pretty tired by then. I'm like, if you're going to throw that way, go get them, kid. So it's good to see they won. Men's singles 501, top 4, me and Robbie Phillips. Second place, Ralph McCool. Ray Carver won that one. In the ladies doubles 501, top 8, TJ Geller, Jeanette Dickerson, Shauna Baggis, Nancy Jo Sebring, Missy Nurtot, Jill Hutchinson, Laura Josie, and Heidi Chanel. Top 4, Vera Emmons, Wanda Coots, Lisa Ayres, Vicky Carroll. Second place, Kim Keller, Sandy Haas, and the winners, Sandy and Stacy. Ladies 501, top 8, Jill Hutchinson, Leslie Lorena, Valerie Emmons, and Angie McKnight. Top 4, Sandy Hudson, Paula Murphy. Second place, Stacy Bromberg, and the winner, Lisa Ayres. Congrats to Lisa. Men's doubles 501, top 4, Timmy Bagley and Thomas Baugh, Danny Bagish and Craig Mize. Second place, Chainsaw, Joe Cheney and Chuck Pankow, and the winners, Roger Carter and Trent Sumner.
All right.
Roger just played great on Saturday. Mixed doubles 501, top 4, Gordon Dixon, Tyler Mears, me and Sandy Hudson. Second place, Roger Carter, Vera Emmons, and the winners, Ray Carver and Stacy Bromberg.
That's a tough team.
Yeah, a lot of tough teams. There were a lot of tough teams. Blind draw 501 cricket court calls, top 4. This was Saturday's draw. Zoo Knoll, Lee Blair, Mad Hatter, Phil Freed, and Eddie Hill, top 4. Jade Henson, James Cotton. James played pretty good. I was happy to see that. In second place, and then Dayton Strawbridge and Stephen Gosnell won the blind draw on Saturday. Friday, they had the men's singles 301. Let's see, DJ Sayer and Ray Carver, top 4. Larry Butler, second. Gordon Dixon won that. Women's singles 301. Top 8, Beth Fox, Missy Nurtot, Shawnee Payton, and Kim Keller. Top 4, Sandy Hudson, Sandy Haas. Second place, Lisa Ayres. Winner, Paula Murphy. And they had a blind draw, 501 cricket court calls. Top 4, Gordon Dixon, Robert Sharp, Casey Reynolds, and Ray Carver. Second place, Heidi Chanel and DJ Sayer. And the winner, Chainsaw and Andy Pope. There's your results from the Shoot the Moon in Decatur, Alabama.
So the Syracuse Open is hosted by the Salt City Darters.
Yeah. Didn't I say Salt City?
You just said something about salting in the city, and you didn't know what was going on.
Okay. Well, thank the smartest chat room in the business. We'll take one more break, and we'll talk a little Premier League when we get right back to it. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve. Okay, back for the fourth quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, Redwood Darts, thank you very much. And Windy City Fabricators, thank you very much. Ready to talk some Premier League?
I think so. Apparently, our picks didn't go over so well. Not as well as week one, correct?
Well, I wouldn't say that we were totally abject failures, but we didn't do all that great. The Scots ended up winning both their matches. Thornton won. Gary Anderson won, and we wanted to pick a tie between Taylor and Lewis,
right.
And we ended up taking Taylor. He won, but then the rest of it, no good.
Nothing good?
No good. So the standings, we'll recap the standings after 2 weeks, which, I don't know. Who's winless? Lewis and Newton.
Really?
And Van Barneveld's undefeated, and everybody else is kind of in the middle. So, Wes Newton... I don't know. I mean, I don't think that being new to the format is bothering him. I think he's just like getting beat. And I looked at the numbers from his match against Van Barneveld, and he threw pretty well. He averaged 95. And, he only broke him once. And, again, he's at 33% on his doubles, and Van Barneveld is at 54. And that just doesn't work. I don't think you can win top-level darts only hitting 1 out of 3 on your doubles, because a lot of the times you only get one dart at it. That means you're only going to win 1 leg out of 3. That's not going to cut it. Whereas Van Barneveld's at 54%. That means if you give him 1 dart at a double, he's going to win every other leg.
Yeah.
So I know it only looks like 20%, 19%, but it translates into so much more.
Well, yeah, especially because you're talking about you're only throwing X amount of darts at a double.
Well, yeah.
You're not throwing 9, 12 darts at a triple 20, you're throwing 1 to 2 darts at a double, and that's it. If you're hitting 54%, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, especially, you're playing, you look at they played 9 legs, and Van Barneveld had 13 darts at a double. That's almost 2 a leg.
And he hit 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty good. And, if you're only going to get 6, you better hit them all.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked, I didn't get a chance to see the match, but it looked to me like, Newton had 3 at a double a couple of times and managed to hit it, but basically got outscored by somebody who averaged close to 100, or 100.19. So that's awfully good. So Raymond playing good. James Wade ended up losing to Andy Hamilton, which is like James Wade is. I'm going to start thinking of him like the Cincinnati Bengals, because back when I handicapped football, that was the one team I just was always wrong about.
Yeah.
If you wanted to know what to do about Cincinnati, ask me. Take my answer,
opposite.
reverse it, and you were golden. Basically, 15 out of 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And if James Wade is going to be like that, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, he got outthrown a little bit. He threw more ton 80s.
We're going to start calling him James Cincinnati Wade.
That'd be funny if I ever ran into him and said, "Hey, Cincinnati," and he'd be like, "What the heck is this?" Anderson beat Whitlock 7-5. That's only one break. Whitlock scored under 90, so I don't know what the deal was with that. I wish I had time to go over the highlights. I have a feeling the crowd was helping Gary there.
Probably, yeah.
The Flying Scot, playing in Scotland with all these fans. And I don't think the crowd would bother Whitlock, but it's so hard to have your best stuff every Thursday night. I mean, it's just like their version of a rec league.
Sure.
Where you play every Tuesday night, and some Tuesday nights, you're not into it. Let's face it. It's hard. Week in and week out, it's very difficult to be into it.
Sure.
When you're only trying to make top 4 or you're only trying to make the playoffs and stuff like that. That's what I remember from, playing in the rec league. It's like, well, we're in the playoffs. Who cares? Let's start goofing around.
Yeah.
I'm going to start on the Bulls. So I don't
know.
Well,
or you worked late, or the bus was delayed, or whatever. You didn't get there
you
on
didn't
time.
get a warm up, and then whatever. I mean, there's also,
and then you're like, well, it's just another Thursday night. Okay, whatever. Just
there's always an excuse out there, you don't have to look that hard.
No,
I mean, we were joking around about how, oh man, it's sunspots. It's always sunspots because you throw these darts, they feel great, and everything's on the wire all weekend long, and it's like somebody was complaining to me about that, and I'm like, it's sunspots, man.
Right.
I mean, the ionosphere is out of whack, but next week the same darts will go in, and the guy looked at me like I was out of my mind. But what I meant was, it's like some days stuff just doesn't go in, and
I thought you meant sunspots, like you accidentally stared at the sun, and then when you're looking at the board, you're seeing all these spots, and that's what you're aiming at, as opposed to aiming at the triple 20.
No, it was funny. It was funny. Sandy Hudson's husband, Chuck, wanted a picture of me and Sandy. We've never played together before. So I'm like, yeah, sure, take a picture. He's like, can I do it now? And I'm like, well, I'd rather you waited until after the match.
Before the
when
flash.
the flash goes off, it's going to mess up my eyes. He's like, I never thought of that. And he's like, well, maybe I should get pictures of all Sandy's opponents before a match and just tell her, hey, close your eyes. And she almost smacked him in the head, because Sandy wants to play fair.
You're right.
Right, and Chuck's.
That's a good idea, though.
I probably shouldn't have said that. Maybe
she's not going to let it happen, so it's just kind of a funny anecdote.
No, it was kind of fun watching her, watching her go about her business as like a professional dart player. I was impressed, and she's mentally very, very tough. And even when things weren't really going our way, she digs deep. I mean, I was pretty impressed. Adrian Lewis and Phil Taylor. Yeah, doesn't look like Adrian Lewis really showed up there. And Van Gerwen and Thornton. I mean, Robert Thornton's playing awfully well. He has raised the level of his game in the last 6-9 months to where everybody thought he would be 2 years ago when he came over from the BDO to the PDC. And that's good. I like that because he's a fun guy. He's funny. I mean, I'd love to get him on the show. I don't know if everybody could understand his accent because he does sound like a Scot.
Okay.
But he's got a sense of humor, and he comes from bars. He comes from shooting in bars and all that goes with it. And he would probably, if they had the PDC tournament in some crowded, noisy bar, he'd be a favorite. Yeah. I would take him over Phil Taylor. Taylor's used to playing on the big stage with the cameras and stuff, and let me tell you, you get in a noisy bar that's, whatever. Robert Thornton is right at home.
That's his home.
He's like, let's go. So I think that would be fun to watch. You know, like watching like these professional baseball guys play wiffle ball or
Right.
something. I mean, I would like to see that. That would definitely be worth the price of admission. I saw something, and there's somebody's doing an exhibition somewhere. Is it Larry Butler and Ryan Barnett? Somebody's doing an exhibition somewhere. Somebody send me something on this because I found this interesting. And I can't remember what the date is or anything, so maybe somebody in the chat room can give us a heads up on that. All right, so this week, who do we got for the Premier League? We got Cincinnati, James Wade.
Yes, against Adrian Lewis.
I don't even know what to make of Adrian Lewis
you
right
gotta
now.
take,
I think he's
you
a
gotta
mess.
take Lewis. He's got to win one, doesn't he? Of course, then you're talking about James Wade coming off a bad loss.
Let's come back to that one.
All right.
Robert Thornton and Wes Newton. I'll take Thorne there.
All right.
Be wrong.
He's playing well. We'll
He's
take him.
playing well. Whitlock and Taylor.
Do you want to go for the upset?
No.
No. All right.
No. Phil's playing pretty good. He's playing very consistent week in and week out. I don't see. I mean, Simon could get geeked up and beat him, but Taylor's the bet there. Andy Hamilton and Gary Anderson. You can pick that one. I have no idea.
Let's go with
They both won last week.
Andy Hamilton.
Really?
Sure.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, you told me I could pick, and now all of a sudden you're not liking my pick.
Andy Hamilton looks so blocky when he throws. He just looks so awkward and mechanical that it's difficult to watch. And he's a fantastic player.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's an overachiever or what, but he doesn't look natural like some of these other guys. Like Gary Anderson looks natural. So it's kind of hard to watch, and sometimes I
Therefore,
just
it's hard
cringe.
to pick 'em?
I just cringe.
Right.
Well, no, I don't like picking people I don't like, but I mean, they both won last week. I mean, we'll go with Hamilton. Like, the chalk didn't work last week.
Right.
Now, Van Gerwen and Van Barneveld, what do you make of that? I mean, they're both playing great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say the same thing. Is Van Barneveld going to be able to do the same thing he did last week, the next week? And keep it up. That's some pretty impressive darts that he threw. So,
that's a very tempting to go for that 4-1 tie bet there. I'll tell you though,
we've discussed this. You can't pick that.
I know.
Not for this little thing we're doing.
Here's the thing. You want to go. Do you really think that there's a changing of the guard where somebody like as young as Van Gerwen, I think he's only 21 or 22. Raymond's a veteran, ex-world champion in his late 40s, which is where a lot of these, top players really peak, the way pitchers peak around 29 or 30. These darters really seem to peak when they get in their, past 45, which is, pretty much where Barney is right now. If you pick Van Gerwen, are you really thinking that it's becoming more of a young man's game?
No, I'm thinking that just what you mentioned earlier, that maybe Van Barneveld just has an off week, and it's a weekly thing. If it was a tournament, and then you were talking about like a major tournament that these two people were meeting up in the top 4 or top 8 or something, then I think it's a different story. I think a weekly match like this, where everybody plays everybody, then just because you pick Van Gerwen, you're just making picks.
I mean, I have a feeling that Van Barneveld is traveling back and forth from Holland every week. I don't know if Van Gerwen does that or not, but that's got to wear on you. That almost killed John Part. He was flying in from Canada all the time when he was in the Premier League, and it was just like I had the feeling it was like half the time he didn't even know what time it was.
Yeah, you get to the airport and like, what am I doing here again?
Yeah. So who do you like there?
So I'm going to go with the letdown. Take Van Gerwen, and Van Barneveld just won't be able to throw 100.5 again with 54% doubles.
Okay, you can take Van Gerwen for that reason. I would take Van Gerwen because I am really starting to believe that
there's a changing of the guard.
He has permanently raised the level of his game to the point where very few guys can even stand on the Aki with him and have a chance to win. Not that Van Barneveld doesn't have a chance to win.
He's one of the few. Is what you're right.
That, like I said, it's a very tempting tie. But for the people that think Van Gerwen was like, kind of a flash in the pan or, just a comet that was going to flame out the way it looks like Adrian Lewis does, because, aside from the World Championship, he hasn't done really anything in the other, 11 months of the season, going back 2 years now. And I remember James Wade saying, hey, I'd put my career against his any day, because Wade's won major championships and, Lewis really hasn't, except for the world championships. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm looking at younger players now more than I did, probably because, I'm pushing 30. And I'm starting
right. Yes.
I'm starting to feel my age.
Yeah, your bones are starting to creak a little bit, and you just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, no, I mean, you look at I was really starting to think about it in playing the Alabama Marathon, because I just got so exhausted. And I'm looking at some guys that were out early in other events, so they're fresher than I am, and I'm like, oh my God, I mean, this is like they're coming at you in waves, and it was such a tough room. There's
See,
so
now
many
you have
good
to
players.
start planning that. Well, I'm just going to purposely lose in this event, so I'll be out early and I'll have some rest for the singles. So you can upset your doubles partner and just like tank, or your triples, and just like, you know what, I got to be ready for this one.
I don't.
Or you just don't play in them.
I've often thought that there were a couple of guys that looked to me like they were kind of coasting in the doubles and sort of like
hoping that their partners pick it up.
Yeah, and then kind of saving themselves for the singles a little bit, because it's more profitable to win the singles than the doubles, right? And I often wondered about that as a strategy. Like, should you kind of like just kind of take it easy and use the doubles as a warm up? Because I've had tournaments where I've done very well in the doubles, and the singles came along, and I was like, boom,
out,
nothing, right? And it does, you only have so much energy in any given day,
right?
And if I'm thinking of one person in particular that's done really well this year in doubles, and in the singles has done almost nothing. And I'm wondering,
are you
not that there's an emotional
expanding
letdown,
too much
but
energy in the doubles, and then you just don't have it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's more mental energy. I mean, it takes a lot of focus to play match after match in this. It's just torture sometimes, the formats that we suffer through at some of these tournaments, where there's like 14, 15, 16 events. There's 7, 8, 9 events that you're going to play as a guy, or 9, 10 events, whatever, if you're counting the blind draws and everything. And it's just like, at some point, guys, I think, just shake their head and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was so brutal in Alabama that I think I had about 20 minutes, because I lost in the top 4 of something, and then right before the mix. So what was before the mix? Men's doubles. We lost in the top 4 of the men's doubles. Right. And so I'm like, well, hurry, let's go get a burger in the restaurant. And literally before the burger was served, we're up in the mix. So I had to take it to go and then eat it cold after my first round match. And I'm like, this is brutal. So, the Dart Talk approved tournaments, I think one thing that's going to be mandatory, and I started putting the list down, and I actually took some notes in Alabama. But a Dart Talk approved tournament is going to have, if they want to run 4 events on a Saturday, they got to put in a lunch break. They got to put in like a 45-minute period where they don't call a match. And they tell you, when you come in the Dart Hall at 10 in the morning, okay,
at
there's going to be
at
between 1:15 and 2 p.m. we will not call a match.
Right.
And between 6:30 and 7:15 we will not call a match. So if you're playing and you're still in an event, that's your dinner break. I don't see why they can't do that.
Right.
Give everybody a break. I mean, people are like ridiculous. I mean, people are ordering out pizzas and all this stuff, and it's like, give me, you know what? Wouldn't the tournament staff like to take a break and get something to eat too?
Yeah.
Let's all take a half an hour and 45 minutes and tell the restaurant, hey, at 6:15 you're going to get flooded.
Yes.
So just be prepared, right? Or whatever. There's got to be some way to work it out where we're not killing ourselves to play.
There's got to be a way.
All these events.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, that's our $1 million suggestion of the day.
Right.
Programming a lunch break. And we'll publish something as far as like our official sanctioning requirements. Maybe next week if I get to it. I mean, I don't have to travel this weekend, so that'll be good. Or can we
no
end
darts
it?
this
Are
weekend?
We done? Well, I was thinking of going to this NWJS
you said
thing
you're not going to play, but you're going to go there
and heckle.
Right.
I would like to go heckle if there's anybody heckleable.
Was there an option to go play somewhere?
For who, me?
Yeah.
Well, Port City's this weekend, which, man, I wish I could go. It's in Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
I have friends there now and everything. Yeah, it's just, I cannot go to every single tournament every single weekend like some people. I mean, I just can't do it. And even if I could afford it, I don't think I'd do it, because I think physically the traveling takes more out of me now than it did, when I
Now that
first
you're
started
30.
traveling like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm pushing 30.
Right. I'm pushing 30. Right.
Let's get it straight.
All right. Well, yeah, that's
So a couple of people are definitely off the hook. We can end the show without me like totally ripping on a couple of people that will get ripped on next week, I guarantee you, because I have a lot to say about a couple of things.
Well, next week we'll talk about how badly my darts are after I dusted them off.
Well,
this
yeah,
weekend.
it'll be interesting because you've heard me like basically hyping this long format stuff, which I've done consistently almost since I started doing the show. And you guys can go back in the archive, back when I did the show with my cousin Steve about like the ultimate tournament format was long format and all this stuff. If you guys think I'm kidding, it's up there. On iTunes, you can find us. You can find us on Stitcher.com. You can find us on TuneIn.com. You can find us. We have our own YouTube channel, Dart Talk US, so you can find us there. And where else? Pretty much.
Stitcher?
Yeah, I think I said Stitcher.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're everywhere. And
we
then there's our Facebook page.
Yes.
You can find links to
Eventually
the
we'll
show
have a
and
website.
Stuff. Yeah, the website will be darttalk.us, and it'll be up. Hopefully, I'll be able to get to it this week and start putting something up there. And then eventually, that's where you'll be tuning in to see the show, and we'll get rid of the direct Ustream link, and we'll just embed it in Dart Talk US. So it'll be very easy. Go to Dart Talk US and watch the show there, and hopefully the chat will be a little easier to use. I can dream, can't I? Anyway, let's wrap it up. For Mystery Mark, Steve Panuncielman, we will be back next Wednesday at 7:30 Central.
Yes.
Yeah, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, and I don't know what time in England. But
I don't think they know either.
Everybody, thanks for listening. Take care. We'll Dart talk to you next week.
Have a good evening.